Okay, well, I've got 7 o'clock. I'm not sure what time the Bears kick off tonight, but I'm going to cheer for the Steelers, so I'd like to watch that game. But we'll see how we go. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So approval of the minutes. We've got the council meeting of September 13th of 2021. The one thing, Bill, on there that I would suggest is during the APC report, it said that the shore protection ordinance came with an unfavorable rating. That probably ought to say an unfavorable recommendation from the Advisory Plan Commission. So with that change, I'd like to suggest that we approve those minutes. Do I hear a second?
Hold on, Dr. LeMay, this is Chris.
Chris?
Was that the initial, that last one? Remember, there were 2 considerations because it got kicked back and they disapproved the amendments.
Right, it was an unfavorable recommendation.
Unfavorable. Right. Yeah, they disapproved, yeah. It's not quite the same language, so just making sure that it's not exactly what, favorable recommendation, certification that came, there's a nuance there. So yes, it was those amendments were disapproved.
Right. So I make that motion to approve the amended minutes. Is there a second?
I second it, Bob.
All right.
Mary Lou.
Okay, and Chris, do we have to have a roll call vote even to approve minutes?
You need a roll call vote for everything.
Mary Lou?
Aye.
I'm an aye. John Coker?
Aye.
Mike Johnstone?
Aye.
John Wall?
Aye.
All right, I'd like to to suggest that we approve the special council meeting of October the 11th. Is there a second?
Isn't that the 13th?
There was one on the 13th, but there was also one on the 11th. That was the special meeting about the town manager.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Mike.
Mary Lou?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
John Wall?
Aye.
John Coker?
Aye.
And I'm in favor also. Okay, so opening remarks, we'll try and keep this meeting as quick as we can. I'd like to suggest that public comments be limited to 1 minute at the end of the meeting. I would like to add some agenda items. I'm sure many of the people who are attended, all 36 of them, at least many of them, I think want to hear about the deer, so we're going to add the deer. Just a bit of an update on our deer. Also, dog access to the beach, dog licenses, staggered elections, and the town's capital plan. Hopefully those will be quick. So that's it for opening remarks. Police Department report. Chief.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of October, the Long Beach Police Department responded to 149 calls for service when compared to 144 calls for service in the previous year, for a slight increase of 5 calls for service. During the month, we had 4 incident reports that were documented, which resulted in 4 total of arrests. Of those arrests, 2 were for traffic-related offenses, of which 1 was an OWI misdemeanor arrest. The other 2 arrested individuals, I'd like to commend Deputy Jason Yagelski. Back on October 17th, he observed a vehicle on Highway 12 near Carwick Road. The vehicle had expired plates. He initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle. While engaging the driver and the passenger during the traffic stop, he came upon some drug paraphernalia and a scale that were in the car. Subsequent to that, a search was conducted where he recovered over 15 grams of 15 grams of heroin and 15 grams of meth, resulting in a level 2, 3, and 6 felony charges on the 2 female occupants. So a great job that Jason had on October 17th. And aside from that, we had a total of 31 traffic stops for the month, resulting in 8 citations, 10 warnings, and then the 2 arrests that we spoke of. And that is all that I have.
Oh,
And-
Bob,
Yep.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but Mark brought up, I think it was last meeting, we have 3 homes in Long Beach that currently don't have utilities. And I'm not sure how to classify them, eyesores. And so in order to put some teeth in an ordinance, we wanted to work on something with that. Is that right, Mark? So that they're not correcting their facilities and it looks like wildlife is living in the home, some of them. Am I correct, Mark?
I think there's 2. The one on Ridgemore, I believe, now has utilities. I believe
Okay.
that I know of, there's at least 2 of them. So
Okay, so
nobody's lived there in some time. It's been several years.
many years. Now, they are up to date on their water they don't have water either, but they're paying everything that they should. But we might want to look at that because it is an eyesore for the residents around them. And in order for us to do anything to enforce that, we would have to have an ordinance, correct, Mark?
Yes.
Yes. So,
Mary Lou, this is Chris. You copied me on that correspondence, and I've subsequently looked at that. And while I'm not sure that we can mandate some things just because of the condition of some of the homes, the town does have it and has adopted by reference the unsafe building law, which many communities have, that there is a procedure to follow and actually allows the town to has some teeth in it and can have a standing continuing order and make each of those homeowners have a plan with regard to bringing them up to code and to improve them, or, subject to other bigger communities actually mandate at some point. And it's a long process, but to demolish them. So I think that
it's a start, Chris, because as long as I've been there, especially with the water, it's been an ongoing thing. The one on Roslyn. I think there's 2 on Roslyn now, isn't there, Mark?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I think between, I will copy Mark and you, and I think that gives us a head start and probably has everything that we need as a town to rely on, and then you can use that as the foundation for doing whatever you'd like to see, whatever direction the council would like to go to start correcting them. At least there's not very many, but 3's a lot, for sure.
Right. Well, it adds up. The other thing is, Dr. LeMay, before we get into the meeting, I've been approached by the court reporter and then by the deputy clerk that when you make a motion, even though I'm the only female, if you make a motion, say who you are. And then when you second it, say who you are, because it's hard for them to keep track of who's making the motion and who's seconding it. So just in the future when we do it. I can't hear you now. Maybe I did something wrong.
Okay, I'm back. Everybody froze up on my screen.
Oh, good.
Can you
Well,
fill me in on
you moved to the 3rd row.
what happened with the unsafe building situation?
Chris Willoughby's going to get us some information
Okay.
that we probably don't need an ordinance. He has some other things that we can
Good,
work
okay.
on. But the other thing I brought up for the court reporter and for the deputy clerk, even though you think you recognize the voices, if you could say, I, Bob LeMay, make a motion, or I, John Coker, second it, it would be very helpful for them because not everybody knows who the players are.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Police Commission report, John Wong.
I'll defer to Mark on that.
The November 4th meeting, we discussed under old business the Bolt for the Heart 5K, 10K race from the previous weekend to include the trick or treat event. Both events went off without any issues. They were both well attended. And a big thank you to Pierre and Susan Tour from Bolt for the Heart. They raised over $100,000 this year towards the purchase of AEDs for LaPorte County law enforcement vehicles. So a big thank you to them. Under new business, we talked about Commissioner Bob Gallagher. Unfortunately, had to resign. His residency has changed. A special thank you to Bob Gallagher for his many years of service to the Police Commission, also to the many other boards and commissions that he served in the town of Long Beach. He was a valuable member and he will be missed. Seeking nomination for a new commissioner, I spoke with Sergeant Jim Schooley. The nomination should be to the town council for your December meeting. Spoke about the drug arrest that we just touched on. We have a new Long Beach Facebook page. We ask that the community join us on Facebook by following us to get information and town events. And then touched on leaf pickup, just a reminder to keep the leaves to the shoulder of the roadways. And then also no sticks, rocks, pumpkins, or any large items in those because they could damage the leaf vacs. We just want to make sure that nobody's obstructing the roadways and that all the leaves are kept as far away from the roadway and off to the shoulder. And then there was a recommendation.
Go ahead. The other thing is, many people don't realize the town owns the leaf pickup equipment. I think John Walla confirmed that. So if we break it, the town is responsible and it's expensive for us to fix it.
Very much true. And then December, we made a recommendation to cancel the December meeting. We'll move to the first Thursday in January at 4 p.m. And hopefully we'll have our new commissioner at that meeting as well. And that is all.
Okay. Volunteer Fire Department, John Wall.
Start off with the report on fire calls. They're essentially down a little bit this year, which is a good thing. The month of October, we had 3 calls. One was a hazardous condition. There were 2 false alarms. Average turnout was 8, which is indicative of the nature of the calls. Generally, we catch people in transit so that they can not have to come all the way out when there's a non-emergency sort of a fire call. Medical calls, on the other hand, are 150% of the prior year. We're at 115 for medical calls. Year to date, month of October, there were 14. We had a heart attack, 2 respiratory calls, 2 injury calls, 7 sick person, 2 unconscious victims. The turnout on medical calls was 6 on average per call, which is a fantastic turnout. As I've said before, we've got some new young people on that are just fantastic numbers for a turnout on medical calls, which helps us immensely. Our average response time on fire calls is right at 5 minutes. On medical calls, it's about 4.5 minutes. And that's about it for the report.
Okay. Fire Commission report, John.
We did not hold a fire commission meeting. I will point out a couple of quick things. As I mentioned last time, we were successful along with 2 other county agencies, one being the Hazardous Materials Group and the other being our sister department, Michiana Shores, in a SCBA grant application, which was federal funding for SCBA replacement, which is a very significant grant for us. Those actually have been purchased. The purchase order has gone out, so we hope to see those within a month or 2. The other thing I want to mention in terms of the town, go to the order sort of a thing, we have an individual who has volunteered their home. This happens quite often in our community as we've seen people knock down their homes and build a new place. This individual, this couple has contacted us and offered to allow us to use their house for training before it's demolished. And I would just like to encourage anybody else that's listening that we could always use those. Those are absolutely fantastic training opportunities. We don't burn them per se, but we do smoke them up, and we can get some really, really wonderful training out of those. So if anybody does have an inclination to knock a house down, demolish a house, if you can allow us to train in it for a week or 2 before you do that, that'd be great. That's it for the Fire Commission report.
Okay. Street Department, Tom Dolph.
For the past month, our street paving project was mostly completed. We have a few minor little punch list items that need to be completed, and that should be done soon. Our pavement asset management plan was submitted last week for review by ITAP, and we do that for that has to be done to be able to obtain any community crossing grants. And we assisted the water department with 2 water services, one on the 1400 block of Lakeshore Drive, one at 1600 block of Lakeshore. We've also been checking over on our snow plowing equipment, and most of that is ready to go. And leaf pickup has started last week, and it's going okay. It's a little light out there right now, but it kind of gives newer guys that haven't done leaf pickup on the crew, kind of gives them a little bit of practice before it gets heavy. But other than that, everything's going pretty well.
Okay. Street Commission, John Wall. John, you're muted.
Mea culpa. We did not hold a street commission meeting last month. I want to point out a couple of quick things. The CCMG grant, which is the community crossing money for paving for the following year, which would be the 2022 season, has been discussed with our engineer. We've come up with a little more aggressive program than we had this year, but a little less aggressive program than we've had a couple of years past. It'll be about a $725,000 program. There'll be some engineering in costs, but the town contribution to that will be about $180,000 plus the engineering. So we anticipate to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a quarter to $300,000, $250,000 to $300,000 to get a substantial amount of paving done in 2022. I'll echo what Mary Lou said. We do want to remind everybody once again, it never hurts to remind them again that the leaf machines are ours. Please do not put large objects in those leaf piles. Other than that, that's essentially all I have on the street commission.
Okay, Park Board, Kendra Bartlett.
We have no improvements planned for the stops until spring, and then we'll evaluate everything then with new weather changes and erosion and whatnot. So nothing planned until spring. Our activities coordinator has a lot of great things going on happening at the community center. We've got Tai Chi, art classes, coffee and canvas in December, Saturday mornings from 8:30 to 9:30. There's a workout class. We're going to be bringing Saturday bingo as well. And so we always encourage everyone to follow our updates on the Park Board Facebook page, or there's a Long Beach Activities Facebook page, or of course email us directly at the longbeachparkboard@gmail.com. And we decided to just combine the November and December holiday meeting into one, and that's going to be on December 14th via Zoom. So that'll be the next meeting. That's it.
Okay. Community Center, John Coker.
Yes, the center didn't meet this month, but the building has been switched from the AC to heating. It's reported that the Irish dancing is back, and you just heard Kendra say that the Park Board is sponsoring several different events and projects there. Joe, Doug, and Larry, they continue to maintain the building, and just to remind everybody, Joe Jogman is the point person to contact for any related activities or issues regarding the building. That's it.
Okay, Water Board, Mary Lou.
The Water Board met on Monday, October 25th. We're still working on a small claims follow-up. We are very sad that Bob Gallagher moved, and so we are looking for a replacement for him. And so if you have an interest, please email Dr. LeMay. It's not a hard job. They don't make you go out and dig holes or look for water or anything. It's pretty good, and we only meet once a month. We did have some billing adjustments, and it's all online. We keep notes on it. We're very excited that Austin, who's the newest person, probably been there maybe 3 years, he passed all of his tests. He's certified now in the water department. And so we're looking to promote him in probably the first of the year. And we're working on that with the HR committee. And our next meeting is November 22nd at 9 a.m. via Zoom.
Okay, Budget and Finance, Bill.
Budget and Finance, we met. Am I heard still? I know I'm not.
Yes.
Okay. We met on October 13th, and we're working closely with Sender and Company, with Carl Sender and his staff, to try to develop a plan for some of these major purchases that we're going to need. When I got here in 2012, I was excited because I saw a brand new snowplow being delivered to the town. And although most of us have not aged, the snowplow has, and or snowplow. So we've got that. We have some work to be done on the fire department and both the building and the fire equipment. We did have we have, you'll see we did pay a $500,000 plus bill to Woodruff, which is one of the remediation. We still are safe on our GO bond, but that has been reduced now to about $414,000. But everything is solid there. If anybody in the audience wants to talk about specifics, I'd be happy to meet with them, but I think we got to move on.
Okay. Human Resources, Bill.
Human Resources has been meeting regularly. We've actually been meeting weekly with the consultant because we're trying to develop the new policies, and we are working on the paid time off policy, and that will be on the agenda later on in the meeting to discuss. There are also the salaries. We have agreed on some salary numbers, but there will be some discussions that we need to make going forward, which will also be in the later on in the meeting. So that's all I'm going to report. Okay.
Okay. Building Commission. Building Commission met on October the 14th. Just to hit the highlights, at stop 18, I believe it's 1802. The issue with the Perrys is being resolved. I think our building commissioner was to meet with them. I didn't hear how that turned out, but I'm encouraged. 2216, some beach stairs, permit for that was denied. They were proposing wooden stairs. Our new ordinance says that you can build metal stairs solid metal stairs off of seawalls that can go out 42 inches from the base of the seawall. So that was denied. There are some previously illegal beach stairs that our attorney is working on, and letters have been sent to those violators. 1612, Indianapolis, legal issues there are moving along also. We did allow them to do some repairs to keep rain from getting in the structure, but a lot of things were built that are illegal, and so there's negotiations taking place there. At 1900 Lakeshore Drive, pool permit was denied. We needed some coverage numbers, natural ordinary high water mark determination. 3040 and 3010 Lakeshore Drive, a fence was in the side setback or proposed to be in the side setback. That was denied. And at 1300 Lakeshore Drive, which is the old Liddell house, they're going to tear down the existing and build a new residence, and that permit was approved. And I think those were the highlights. The next meeting of the Building Commission is Friday at 1 p.m., and that'll be on Zoom. And that's it for the highlights of that. Next report is the BZA report, which I have also. That meeting was on Tuesday, October the 12th. There was a preliminary hearing for Jeffrey and Deborah Yoder, and that was set for public hearing. There was another preliminary hearing for Patrick and Paige O'Neill at tentatively 1417 Lakeshore Drive. That was also set for public hearing. The Shoreland Hill Property Association, Stop 31, had a preliminary hearing, and that also was set for public hearing. There was a public hearing for Neil and Pancha French at 1318 Northmore Trail. Their variance was approved. And also a public hearing for Jeffrey and Deborah Zaluda of 2900 Lothair Way, and that variance was also approved. Advisory Plan Commission, and the next BZA meeting is going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Advisory Plan Commission did not meet. Their next meeting is tentatively scheduled for 11:15. However, so far there's nothing on the agenda for the Advisory Plan Commission, so It wouldn't surprise me if that meeting got canceled, but we'll see what happens. Bill, building permit and revenue report?
Building permit revenue reports for October 2021, 17 permits totaling $2,049,064, and the total town revenue of $21,727. 3 electric permits were issued totaling $425, and 2 street cut permits were issued with $200 revenue for the town. The October legal expenses total $13,725 paid to Brazy, Nelson, and James. Do I have a motion to approve the revenue reports and the department reports?
So moved. Is there a second?
Mary Lou, I second it.
Mary Lou, are you in favor?
Aye.
I'm in favor too. John Wall,
Aye.
John Coker,
Aye.
Mike Johnstone.
Aye.
Good deal. Okay. Bill, I'm sorry, did you do legal expenses?
I did.
Yes, you
Okay,
did.
good. All right. Okay, town's executive order update. So LaPorte County is back to orange from yellow, unfortunately. Last month, there were 8,595 deaths across the country from COVID. I'd like to recommend that we make no change in the executive order.
Is there a second?
I'm Mary Lou's. Oh, okay, go ahead, Mike.
Mike,
Second.
are you in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
I'm in favor. Mary Lou,
Aye.
John Wall,
Aye.
John Coker.
Aye.
Okay, Lakeshore Drive sewer update. John Wall.
Essentially on the sewer project, a couple things have happened since our last meeting. Dr. LeMay kind of stood in for me at a meeting with the engineer in the Michigan City Sanitary District about a week ago. That was to juggle some of the engineering issues that we've begun to face. We have some issues with the power company, NIPSCO, in terms of getting some gas lines moved. We have some input from, some contractors that have helped the engineer along. So they're still moving along quite well. It's taken probably a little longer than we had anticipated on the engineering side, but we still hope to be able to bid hopefully in December possibly. But that meeting was quite productive. I do want to point out, particularly for anybody that's in the audience that's a Lakeshore Drive property owner, we have sent out a letter, which is also copied on the website under the Lakeshore Drive Sewer Project tab on the website, that describes some policies that we are enacting. And it would behoove anybody on Lakeshore Drive to pay attention to those policies, to read that letter. It's also being mailed out. It was mailed out on Saturday this past week, thanks to Joy Schmidt and her efforts, and Deanna and her efforts as well. We will be holding a Zoom session, an informational session on November 16th at 6:30 p.m. for anyone that would like to ask questions. Essentially, it's designed for the Lakeshore Drive property owners to be able to ask any questions. We have kind of come to almost the end of the input for their location on their laterals, but there are some other issues that they'll be able to ask questions on. There may be some other individuals there that will help us along with that. I will be meeting with the LaPorte County Health Department this week also to review some of the policies that they will enact for killing old septic systems and how that'll work, and whether or not we'll be able to use some pumps in tanks and that sort of thing to accommodate the new system without, with trying to reduce the cost for the homeowners on Lakeshore Drive. So essentially that's where we're at on the sewer project.
Okay, PTO policy. Mary Lou.
Okay, so the HR committee met right after the October meeting, and it was advised by Dr. LeMay that we sent it to the labor law attorney, or the employment law attorney, and she gave it the blessing. We had a couple grammatical errors that we made, and so then we brought it up at our November meeting at HR. And what we've done is we have taken what normally the employees of the town have gotten, which is their vacation and their sick leave, and we have combined it. And then we have a system where they're not penalized, they don't lose it. If they don't take it, they don't lose it. So then the whole town isn't penalized if they all Well, they don't do that anyway, but if they all took off at the end of the year, if we had a snowstorm or anything. So we're very fortunate. So we spelled out the policy on carryover and sell back and borrow and how it would happen if they voluntarily left employment. So we've really worked long and hard on it, and I feel like it's a good plan. Of course, we're always open for, if something doesn't work out, but we've had a lot of input from the employees. I'm very fortunate that Bill and Mark, and they've all talked to the employees, and we've kept in communication with them on what we're doing. So I think it's a win-win. So tonight, I'm looking for a motion to approve the PTO policy for January 1st, because that ties in with us revising. Right now, we're working with the HR consultant, and she is revising our policies and our employee handbook for all the employees.
Mary Lou, how the PTO, does that accumulate every year? How's that going to work?
Well, they can only accumulate so much, John. So they will have to, they don't use it or lose it. They can, the way the policy reads now, they can bank some for a future use, but they also have.
But is there a maximum on that?
Yes. If they, let me get my page out here, and I did send it to the council. So they can carry over if you are if you're not a policeman, so that and Mark, correct me, because Mark and I and Bill and then the HR consultant and Georgetta have worked on this. So you can carry over 40 hours for an 8-hour employee and 60 hours for a 12-hour employee. So what we did is we took a week. So a policeman a week would be 60 hours and a normal employee would be 40 hours.
But so they can just for 1 year, 2 years, or what?
They max out. They can't carry it over forever.
Well, like what's the max? I guess that's my question is how much would the town be liable for if somebody took it to the max?
Let me think. I feel like it's ingrained in my brain right now.
Mary Lou, I can help.
Okay. They can accumulate no more than 80 hours for an 8-hour employee or 120 hours for a 12-hour. And we looked at that, Mark and I did, based on his background and mine, and it's kind of, I call it an insurance policy. So now if I was younger and I might say, well, I might have to have a gallbladder out or something like that, this will kick in if I wanted to instead of short-term disability, because then it would be at full pay. So I'm banking on that to pick up on it. So it's just a way to save it. I think we need to get down the road and see how they use it, but I can see maybe the younger people not banking it as much as the older people, but we have to see, it's based on your health issues. Or if
so
the
most you could bank then is 120 hours, is that right?
Yes.
It'd be about 3 weeks?
Well, no, that's it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks for like the deputy clerk.
Right.
2 weeks for the police. We based it on their hours that they work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I for one would like to see some detailed cost figures on this before I vote to approve it. This money that we put away in this bank and this carryover is all money that the town has to put in a lockbox so that it's available if an employee decides they want to cash it in. So it's not without cost.
Right.
I really, for one, would like to know exactly what that total cost is before I vote. Now, this is November. We've still got December. So I'd like to recommend that we get those figures and we bring that back next month.
I can get those. I can work on that. So you want the cost?
Yeah, I did cost figures, but I didn't include the chief in that, and obviously that I need to do that, or that needs to be done.
Okay, no problem. I can do that.
Okay, so I guess I'd like to recommend that we table it till next month.
Yes.
I'll second it. Coker.
Any other discussion?
One thing, Bob, is Bill. We have sufficient funds, but I agree with you, and in future budgets, we should probably set up a separate account, so that we have that money identified as, as our bank to pay for.
Yes,
for the
we will
employees.
absolutely have to, yes. Okay. Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Mike Johnstone?
Aye.
I'm an aye. John Coker?
Aye.
John Wall?
Aye.
Mary Lou?
Aye,
Okay, so we'll keep that on the agenda for next month.
yes.
2022 salaries, is that
Okay.
from you, Mary Lou?
That's for me, and we are working diligently on that. We still have some outliers based on the survey that we had run last year. We talked about it in the HR committee. I'm doing some research on some things. One of the issues that came up, and I'm going to say this because we have, how many? 50 people here. Bill has said that he doesn't want to be with us forever. So we do know that if we are going to try to replace him, I did a survey. It's actually, I didn't do the survey. It's the one we did last year. We are way below what most town clerks are paid. So the HR committee is working on that. We want to come up with a range. We do know, just for everyone's benefit, Bill is a Republican, so if he doesn't fulfill his term, we don't replace him. The Republican committee chairman does. So I've gotten a hold of Trail Creek, Dr. LeMay, you asked me for that, and I have Burns Harbor, Portage, and Westville, and I think the range that Mark came up with at our HR committee is right on, and so we just need to come up with that number. But with the salaries, there are a couple outliers. We need to look at a promotion for Austin, who's going to be the assistant water superintendent, and we need to see where we're at on that. But I think all in all, we're in pretty good shape. I feel real comfortable. And also with that, I see where they added on, probably it's under new business, but when we had our HR committee, and I think it's important to bring it up now, is one of the things Mark brought up is that we're really not competitive when it comes to holidays. We don't want to be, Michigan City isn't our competition in some respects. They have, is it 13 holidays, Mark? 16?
On an election year, I believe it's 16, and then it's either 14 or 15 on an off year.
So we have 10 holidays. And so I reached out to one of our longtime employees who's been with us 24 years. And he said, I don't ever remember in my prior time with the council that we ever improved that. So presently we have 10 holidays. We're looking at improving that. And Dr. LeMay asked me to come up with how much the cost of one holiday is for the employees that are full-time. And then we have 2 regular part-time. So I've come up with those numbers that we'll talk about at our December HR meeting. So we're going to have a lot to have on the docket for December for the council to approve. And I feel comfortable with it. One, Mark suggested that we approve Martin Luther King. When I was little, we knew when Lincoln and Washington's birthday was, but now they call it President's Day, and then also Veterans Day. And we're not going to have one for like Pennsylvania when they start deer hunting. I'm kidding. Yeah. So we'll have a lot on the docket. We'll have a lot to talk about in December. But I know how much the increases are going to cost. Mark and I have been working on it, and we'll be ready to go in December.
Okay. Sounds good. So that'll be on the agenda for December.
Yes.
Bill, refuse contract renewal.
It looks like we will get a 4% increase in our cost of gas and everything have gone up, but it's still my recommendation that we continue on. We will have to do a 2-year because without competitive bidding, we can extend a contract for another 2 years. I just think changing right now with the sewers and everything else going on that we should maintain Republic. I have no complaints about their service. Every once in a while, somebody misses a pickup, but they always come back and pick it up. our current fee is $16.06, and the fee will still be in the $15 range. So we've got a little. We should not have to increase the fee for any of the residents that are listening. When I came in here in 1995, I was paying 12 times $16.25 a month, or so we actually have kept the cost down because we've gone to the single driver versus the 2 to 3 men on a truck. So I think we still got a good situation.
And to get competitive bids would take how long?
It would not. I suppose I can get competitive bids if you'd like to have that. I would try to get something in the middle of the month before the December meeting. The concern I have is that the competitive bids. I suppose you can still make the decision, but my feeling on it is it's going to be in the pennies, not in not in significant dollars. But I will talk. There is a garbage company in New Buffalo who has asked over the years to bid, and Waste Management has also asked. So I will talk to them this week.
Are we good with making that decision at the December meeting?
Yeah, we should be fine.
Okay.
Because the biggest problem is if we change, that's going to be a little dicey because we got to replace 1,140 garbage cans.
But then we get new ones, right?
Right.
Mine's getting kind of wore out, Bill.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's it. I like mine, but yeah. Okay.
Bob, before we move forward, I didn't bring up, and I should have with the Human Resource. When we met at our Human Resource Committee meeting, we wanted to talk about how much sick leave, which people won't have sick leave anymore, it'll all be combined. And we have quite a few employees that don't get to take their sick leave or don't use their sick leave. So if they don't use it, they lose it. And I would say probably the person that's penalized the most is the police chief, because he has to cover all those hours when they're not there. So we made a recommendation, and you were there, that I did some numbers on if we bought back 3 days or if we bought back 5. So we recommended and bring it to the council to buy back up to 3 days for any employees. And that cost would be, if we did, would be $5,757. And so I'd like to make a motion that we buy back up to 3 days of our town employees' sick leave policy just for this year, because next year it moves on to the PTO.
Well, and again, at that meeting, I think I brought up the idea of paying 50 cents on the dollar for those days. I think my concern is if you say you're going to pay back up to 3 days, then people will end up with just 3 days. Whereas if you say 50 cents on the dollar, people are liable to use all those, because obviously the town's better off if people are working as opposed to taking time off. And the cost of 50% would be $5,238, which is slightly less than the 3 days and substantially less than the 5 days. So to me, I think that paying 50 cents on the dollar for vacation days may accomplish more for the town and save us money.
So 50 cents on the dollar. So if I had 60 hours, you're going to pay me half of that?
I pay you for 30, yeah. For whatever you have unused. I think that accomplishes, I think it's liable to accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is to keep our people not taking their sick days off if they don't need them to, because they're
right. If they don't need them, because they know what before they couldn't accumulate them. So I'm open to that, but I made a motion to buy, because the Human Resource Committee made the recommendation that and you were there and you kind of said you'd go along with that, pay up to 3. So we're talking about a difference of about $300.
Right, but I'm not sure that accomplishes what we want. if all of our employees end up with 3 sick days at the end of the year, that means they've taken some sick days that they may not have taken otherwise. I think my recommendation would cause more people to work, which means we don't have to pay people time and a half to replace them.
Well, we don't pay, well, some we do pay time and a half, but not all of them.
Well, and it's our
No.
highest paid employees that we do.
So
Right, it's
what-
the police.
What would you like then? You acted at the Human
Okay.
Resource Committee that you would go along with the,
Well,
Hey.
actually, I brought up the 50% one, but I would make that motion that we offer to buy back vacation time at 50 cents on the dollar for any unused vacation for this year. That would be my motion.
and so what is your?
Vacation or
I- I'm sorry.
I should have said sick time, not vacation, sick time.
Sick time. So do you have that figure? Because I only did 3 days and 5 days.
Yeah, the figure is just, actually, it's the $5,238.01.
So the person that's never taken any would be better off. The people that have already taken some, it would be, so mine was $57.57 for 3 days. So we're
Yeah.
talking $300.
Yeah.
So I want to get this moved on so we don't have this in the December meeting. So I'm open to suggestions from the rest of the council.
Can I ask for Mark to comment?
I'm all ears, Bill.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess I'm getting confused because what we're saying is if we tell them we're not going to pay them for their unused sick time, that we're wanting them to take their sick time, which means that we're going to have to replace them if they're, the water and street guys, and Deanna probably are not, it doesn't really count because they could take their time off and maybe still, not be reimbursed. But I'm not quite sure. I mean, if I'm a policeman, and I decide to take my sick time instead of getting paid for it, then don't you have to replace me?
We do, and I see both points on Mary Lou's and Dr. LeMay's. Mary Lou's initial was to pay for 3 unused sick days, whereas if what Dr. LeMay is saying, if I have 4 of my 6 remaining days left, then I would get paid for 2 of the 4, 50% of that.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging employees not to use any additional sick time. So like the employee that's already used 2 this year, if he wants to get paid for 2 of those days, then he shouldn't use any more this year. He should remain at 4 to get paid for 2. Otherwise, if he goes down to 3 days, he's only going to get paid for a day and a half. So I would hope the employees only use their sick time when they're actually, sick with the flu or something like that over the next 7 weeks. Otherwise, both what Dr. LeMay and Mary Lou are saying, I mean, it's very close, in similarity in what they recommended. I don't have an issue with either one of them.
Okay.
Maybe if we decide that we're going to do something at next month's meeting, that would encourage our employees to not take their sick time if they don't need it.
The only problem is now we're at the second week of November.
Mm-hmm. And our next meeting will be the second week of December.
Right. So I'm fine. We were just trying to come up.
Yeah.
It was more of hopefully a win-win for the chiefs because he's the guy that covers the time.
Right. Why don't we say we're going to do something and
Okay.
bring it back next month? That way I think our employees will wait to see what we do. I don't think we're going to leave them out hanging out to dry. So I think that'll encourage people not to take those sick time. And plus, we're not making a decision without a lot of time to think about the implications.
Okay. That
Does
sounds
sound
good.
okay?
Yes.
So I make a motion to table.
I
For a second?
second it. Mary Lou.
Mary Lou, are you in favor?
Yes. I.
I'm in favor. John Coker?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
John Wall?
Aye.
Good. We're getting nothing accomplished tonight. That's good. Okay. Town compliance priorities was the next on the agenda. Do we have anything on that, or is that just placeholding for right now?
Bob, I'm happy to make a comment as it relates to the compliance priorities. Just to mention to the rest of the town council, I think you're already aware of it. Councilor Willoughby sent around today first draft of a ethics ordinance relating to conflict of interest. We're asking for feedback to that document so that we can make changes to it and bring it in close to a final form to our next town council meeting and hopefully take action on it. Okay. So that's the update there. That's the only one that I really have relative to compliance priorities. Okay. In addition to that, Councilor Willoughby has indicated to me that the language is in line with Indiana code. So he specifically has addressed that within the document.
Okay. And Public Works, that's referring to combining our street department and water department into one department, basically. Chris, do you have anything more to say on that?
Well, that's still work in progress and kind of goes hand in hand with some of the proposals with regard to term limits and appointments and how we're going to handle those. So that's one of those that we need to hopefully make some progress for that next meeting. As a group, I don't know what everyone's thoughts are, but that's something that Councilperson Johnstone has mentioned as well in terms of what the procedures are. So there isn't anything tangible that has moved forward on that, but that combination and having that one department is related to that, so we don't have to change those as well.
Okay. Now to address the ungulate in the room, the deer situation. So we've sent out a survey to every residence in town. It was actually sent out to the address where the water bill goes. I understand some people haven't received them. If you haven't received them or you hear from anybody who hasn't received them, have them contact the clerk's office and we'll try and get them one. But again, we want just one response per residence. Basically, the plan there will be to have the clerk's office tabulate the results of those and pass those on to the deer committee. Now, John, I know we talked to John Coker, that is, I know we talked about a mediator, but my email and my social media consultant, who I live with, tells me that it's not very likely that there's going to be any consensus on this. And I've already had questions from some of the people on the deer committee saying, who are we going to hire to be the mediator? I don't know that we really planned on hiring anybody. I frankly think that the job of the mediator is going to be impossible because I don't think there's going to be any agreement. My suggestion would be that what we do is maybe get presentations or plans from if provided people think there's a problem and the town should do something about it, we get a plan from those committees or two plans, which I suspect it will be, and then the town council ultimately would make a decision as to what we're going to do. That's sort of my thought. The thought of spending money for a mediator seems like a fool's errand to me, but I'll listen to what everybody else has to say.
What's the deadline to get the survey?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because some people didn't receive them. I was first going to say 1 week, but since people apparently haven't received some, let's give them 2 weeks from tonight to get them into the town clerk's office. That sounds okay?
Today's the 8:50, so the 22nd?
14, yep, 22nd.
Because I know that Deanna is stamping them as they come in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
I might suggest that rather than making a final decision about the moderator to that council, I think we should probably come back and see the results of the survey.
Okay.
Allow the committee to get back together again.
Yep.
And just see whether there's quite frankly a need for it at that stage.
Yep, you're right.
And evaluate it at that point. That'd be my suggestion.
That's a good point. I'm probably getting the cart before the horse. Okay.
Sounds good.
Any other comments on that? Okay, so dog access to the beach. Last month, we heard from the park board that they had no problems with dogs being allowed to use our stops to access the beach. I think we had a vote that was 4-1 in favor of that from the council. Am I remembering that right? I don't have the minutes.
You're right. I voted
Okay.
against it.
Okay, so what we need to do then is work on changing our ordinances to allow that. So Chris, can I have you work on that for next month?
Yes, and I looked at it a little bit there. There's one portion that says there's no dogs allowed on any of the town's public beach. So to the extent there's an issue with that, and I guess that leads to the next dog licensing too, right? So if
Right.
you're applying to address any of those issues, they're all in the same section.
Yeah, and regarding the dog licenses, I heard from the chief that we have about 5 dog licenses in all of Long Beach. I know I talked to some. I know I talked to. I think Mary Lou, you were in favor of continuing the licenses. I guess my thought is if nobody's doing it now, are we going to start giving out tickets for it? I don't know that we want our police doing that. So, you know, I'll make a motion that we just simply discontinue the dog licenses. If anybody wants to second it, they can. They don't. That's okay.
I would second it.
Okay. Discussion.
What was the license for to begin with? I asked that question on one of my emails. Anybody remember why? I mean, it's only $5. I don't just to find out who owns what dog, or
We only have 5 dogs in Long Beach.
oh, that's right.
That's
Well,
right.
And to Mr. Coker, it also is a way to keep track and showing proof of dogs' vaccination and those
Right.
types of things.
And mine, other than COVID, I'm up to date, but I don't have a new one.
All right. So there's no other discussion. Mike, are you in favor?
Aye.
John Coker?
No.
I'm in favor. John Wall?
Aye.
Mary Lou?
No,
So that was 3-2 in favor of doing away with the licenses. So Chris, can you work on that too?
I will.
Sounds great. So we'll bring that back next month. Staggered elections is still a work in progress. Is that correct,
That
Chris?
is, yep.
Okay. And the town capital plan, I think the plan is to discuss that at the rescheduled budget and finance meeting on 11/17, and then bring that hopefully to the town council in December. That sound like a plan? I don't think we have.
Yeah, I think the only thing I want to make mention of is that we have made some considerable progress. We've talked to all the department heads. We've got some numbers in hand. And we also have talked to Carl Sender, the municipal accountant that the town uses, and he has come up with a couple of options on financing it. So, you know, we've made some considerable progress. I would love to see the budget and finance guys come up with a plan that we can present to the December meeting, at least a preliminary plan.
Okay. New business, electrical inspector. So the building commission hired an electrical inspector prior to his first inspection. That inspector resigned. So it's really going to be incumbent on the building commission to hire a new electrical inspector. Certainly the town council could make a recommendation to them, but ultimately the decision is the building commission's according to our code. Does anybody want to?
I think that we need to change that because no other commission or committee is allowed to hire a person without the approval of the town council. And I think we could still use the county, and it's,
Well, I think that's certainly an option, and
Okay.
frankly, I hope that's the option that the building
Right.
commission's going to adopt.
no.
But right now, as it stands, it is the building commission's choice.
Well, we can overrule that, and Chris can write that in there. They're the only committee in the whole town that can do that, and they're the only committee that can sue a resident without our approval, and I think that's wrong.
Well, if you want to work on changing the ordinances, that would be fine, but right now we have to work with the ordinances that we have.
Okay, I can do that. I'll work with Chris. I'd be happy to.
Mhm. Okay, so any other discussion on the the electrical inspector? This actually is related to proposed interlocal cooperation agreement with the county for the electrical inspector. Chris, we have that, I think, before us, right?
You do, and it was previously negotiated with representatives of the county, but in working with Bill, actually suggested, and the county was open to, it's not just limited to electrical, but any inspection services. And they have a set fee, and the county is willing to have that as a standing contract that's renewable every year. And as you can see, the fee is reasonable. I believe it's $50 per inspection, but it wasn't limited to just electrical, but any trade, with the goal that as the town council, at least my understanding was my charge was to make sure that the town isn't left without an inspector, as we were this time on unfortunate circumstances where the previous inspector had to resign that position, and then the town is left scrambling. So that way the residents won't, their projects won't be left behind. If it could serve either as the town's intention and the building commission to use the county for everything, or to have someone in place if the current inspectors aren't available.
So I'd like to propose that the town council authorize me to sign this agreement. Is there a second?
I second it.
Mike Johnstone.
Aye.
I'm in favor of authorizing myself to sign that. John Coker.
I agree. Aye.
John Wall.
Aye.
Mary Lou.
Aye.
Good deal. Citation books. So the citation books, this is a recommendation that is going to go to the building commission on Friday. Basically, it just is a way for the building inspector to give out citations that are a little easier to understand by the owner of the property. He came up with this. We'll hopefully get it approved at the building commission meeting. And the Beecher will print them up, booklets, ticket books, blank covers and labels for $316.89, so that he can kick those around and give out his tickets in a more clear and concise manner. It'll also, I think, cite exactly what ordinances are the person's in violation of. So I'd like to recommend that we authorize the building commission, once they finalize this ticket and agree to it, that we authorize them to get these booklets printed up for $316.89. So that would be my motion.
I second it.
Any discussion? Mike Johnstone.
Aye.
I'm in favor. John Wall.
Aye.
John Coker.
Aye.
Mary Lou.
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing on the solar systems ordinance. So we all have seen that. I think it's been posted on the website. So I think first thing to do, Chris, is ask if anybody, I'm going to open the public hearing.
And we're not actually having a public hearing, but you can certainly take feedback from, we noticed it up so that the public is aware, but it can't, this is coming to the town council with a unanimous favorable recommendation from the plan commission.
Got it, okay.
Just to consider that, and you have some options to approve it, and if you choose to adopt it as sent to you, then that ordinance will be adopted, or you can make amendments as you previously have done as well.
So as it is not a public hearing, really it's just before the council to approve, and we'd have to approve it twice, right?
Yes.
Okay. So does anybody have any comments on the solar energy systems ordinance from the town council? I'll make a motion that we approve it on first reading. Is there a second?
Second, Mike Johnstone.
Any discussion?
I guess I'm curious, we're allowing a 15-foot height? Is that correct? I mean, the ordinance states that we're allowing this thing to be 15 feet tall. That seems a little large in my book.
Well, the problem is if it's not big enough, it doesn't generate much electricity, and that's part of the issue. We basically at the APC looked at model ordinances from actually surrounding states, and I think we're right in line with exactly what they suggested and what they've enacted. In fact,
The 15 foot is for land-based solar panels, right? That you can still put
That's
them on your roof if that.
they can't be that tall on the roof. Yeah.
No.
In fact, that's limited to the maximum height allowed in the zoning district.
Right.
So yeah,
And also, don't they have to be camouflaged or?
there's some language. If you guys, has everybody seen the ordinance?
Yes.
Everybody got it, right? Okay, yeah, there's some need for, I think we call it screening.
Yeah, screenings, planning, or whatever.
That's correct.
Any other discussion? So it made a motion to approve. It was seconded. Mary Lou?
Aye.
Mike Johnstone?
Aye.
I'm in favor. John Coker?
Aye.
John Wall?
Nay.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve it on second reading. Is there a second? Or that we suspend the rules and approve it on second reading. Is there a second?
I second. Oh, go ahead.
Any discussion of that? Mary Lou?
Aye.
John Wall?
Nay.
John Coker?
Aye.
I'm in favor. Mike Johnstone?
Aye.
Okay, so it's passed and it is now law.
Oh.
Correct, Chris?
Yes, I will make sure I work with Bill Indiana and get proper notice of the adoption of that and give them proof so they can have it in the office.
Okay. Community center leases.
That one's one that I want to talk about. We're on the honor system because it was, the COVID thing was, and everybody seems to be paying up. I have a slight problem with the YMCA because they will not pay their monthly rent without an invoice, which is not part of their lease, but that's a whole different issue. But my successor is going to have to do that. I can send it, so they can send out 12 monthly invoices and they can submit it to their accounting people. But the question really is, do we go to full rent starting January 1? And we talked about it, and then it's we go from yellow to orange and everything else. And I know everybody's business is suffering some because of that, but I think at some point in time we gotta. My recommendation would be that we go back to the original rents that we had. There was $325 for some, $425 for others, $1,700 for others, and that we just offer 1-year leases for those with the consideration that maybe the Y is going to want a longer term lease, which we have agreed to because of the amount of equipment that they have in there. But I think I guess we need to talk about can we do this? My feeling on it is that we should probably go to full rent, and we can always do something to help people if we get to the middle of the year or even a third of the way into the year and they find that COVID has rebounded and we have to give these people a break. Almost all of our residents, of our tenants, have been there for 10 plus years. So we've got a long history with all of them. But I don't know what everybody thinks about full rent.
I would make that motion to January 1st.
I second it, Bob.
Any other discussion? Mike Johnstone?
Aye.
I'm an aye. John Coker?
Aye.
John Wall?
Aye.
Mary Lou?
Aye.
Okay.
Cool. Full red. Okay.
2022 CMG paving project. I think that's already been discussed, right?
Yes.
Good deal. Okay,
Woo-hoo.
public comments. Please keep them to a minute.
And their name and address.
Yep. So if you want to make a comment, raise your hand.
It's Anita Remages. I have my hand raised.
Okay. Go ahead, Anita.
Anita
Address?
Remages, 2300 Florimond. I'm trying to get my clock started. I have 1 minute. I would like to remind council members that last month there was a particular council member, Mary Lou McFadden, who spoke for about 28 minutes. Tonight it's been about 23 minutes. October, it was about her friendly ear interfering with the building commission and the town attorney. The blood drive, getting keys, interfering with the community center committee. Tonight there were personal comments having to do with the building commission, having to do with her vaccinations, having to do with way below what other towns pay, not competitive. The employee handbook has been on the agenda for a year and is still not completed. She answers for Bill Defuniak about legal fees, answers for him about Republicans, and looks to the police chief and other town council members to answer the HR questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I see none. If there's anybody out there who wants to come, speak up.
And
Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. I can't possibly get my comments in 1 minute, but I did ask that Deanne forward a letter to all council members regarding budgetary considerations for the fire department. So I hope you're all in receipt of that letter and you have an opportunity to look that over before you deliberate on the budget coming up. And since I don't have the time to
break it up,
go into for anyone else who's interested would like to see my comments, I'll post that on Long Beach Voices and you can read the letter there, but all council members should be in receipt of my letter. Thank you.
And Tom, it'd probably be good to attend that budget and finance meeting. When did I say it was? On Thursday?
Wednesday at 8:30, 11:17.
Okay. Yeah, so because that's where it's going to come up and then it'll come back to the council. Okay, doke? Okay. Any other comments?
Yes.
It looks like Abby Neary and Mr. Risby both have.
Oh, okay. Mr. Risby, I see your thumb up. Go ahead.
Yeah, 1636 Lakeshore Drive. I think my comments is about garbage collection. We should consider that we should, during the winter season, we may not require every week we have to pick up the trash. Why don't we have trash pickup twice a month, either every other week with the recycling, and then during the summer period, probably from May to October, pick it up every week. That will be able to reduce some cost to the residents because we are paying most of the time. People are not there during the month of that winter, and so we are wasting our money. So we may be able to negotiate better rates if we try to follow that rules. That's my suggestion.
Thank you. Abby Neary, I hear you're out there somewhere. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Just real quick, I was earlier today, Abby Neary, 2019 Lakeshore. I was looking for the solar ordinance, and I just figured I'd mention this. I was getting a strange redirect from the Town of Long Beach website that was sending me to another random website. So I just thought I'd mention that because my computer was warning me that I was being redirected outside the town of Long Beach. So someone might just want to check the website and make sure no one hacked a link to send it somewhere else.
Okay, we need to figure out. So when the ordinance went from the Advisory Plan Commission to the Town Council, I know I didn't handle putting it on the website. Chris, you weren't involved in that either, were you?
Other than requesting that it be there, but I don't handle that.
Okay, you did ask somebody to put it up there, though?
Oh, it's up there. The problem is when I went to the page, when I clicked on the link to say I want to look at town ordinances,
Okay.
my computer warned me you were being redirected from the town of Long Beach to some other site. This may not be secure. So
I'll check
that
on it,
was
see what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we didn't drop the ball. It just-
We hired that contractor to tabulate the ordinances. I think that's where it probably sent Abby. Some time ago, prior administration hired an outside contractor to codify, or, to tabulate maybe Deanna can speak to that, but they codify.
American Publishing, yeah, which most municipalities use, so that might be it.
That might be. I'll try clicking on it and see where it sends me.
okay. Good. I just wanted to make sure we didn't get hacked.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other comments? Council comments. Claims approval, Bill.
Check number 18434 through check number 18500, $690,375.17. Payroll for October was $90,301.04. Do I have a motion to accept the claims?
So moved. Is there a second?
Second, Mike.
Mike Johnstone.
Aye.
John Coker.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Mary Lou.
Aye.
John Wall.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
John Wall.
Yep.
I'm an aye. Mary Lou.
Aye.
John Coker.
Aye.
Mike Johnstone.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.